welcome to my YouTube channel. Yeah, welcome to my first YouTube video. Today I will be doing a video on an affordable like makeup look that you can just pick up in your local drugstore. It's kind of my daily go-to makeup look. Which is kind of like pretty basic, who knows, but yeah, I'm here, I'm gonna do a video and we're just gonna see how it goes. Please do ignore the state of my face. I have already put a set of lashes on. The lashes I'm actually wearing are the Allure London volume ones. Technically these aren't really from a drugstore. I did get these from Tesco's. They're actually on sale, so thank you Tesco's. So I am going to stop with the rambling and I'm just going to crack on with this makeup tutorial. So I hope you like it, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So to start off with, I do normally use a primer. Unfortunately, I have actually run out of primer recently and I haven't really had the time to go and get any more. But I have been using this new love of mine. It's from Revolution and it's basically a baking oil. So you just, it's kind of like it's got a squeezy top, and you basically just squeeze a little bit of it onto your face. You can feel it like dripping down and you're kind of like, oh my god. You just rub that in. As you can see, honestly, it gives such a shine. It smells amazing and it leaves your face feeling super soft, which I'm living for. I wouldn't use this if you are looking for kind of like a matte look. I personally like the glowy kind of like shiny look. But yeah, if you're wanting the matte look, I wouldn't use this preferably, because it kind of does shine through the foundation, but it just gives such a dewy look and it makes your foundation go on so flawlessly. And yeah, I highly recommend. And I think this was something like £4 or £5, so an absolute bargain, of course, from Revolution. So for foundations, I have two at the moment that I'm using. They are both the same. I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Define. I do apologise already in the video because a lot of my makeup is an absolute mess. I tend to use palettes, like eyeshadow palettes and stuff, as my palette to like mix my foundations on. So that's kind of a bad habit I have. But anyway, moving on to the foundation. I use the Revolution Conceal and Define. Again, this is super cheap. I think it's literally like, I think it's £9. I'll double check, but I will leave the link below for all the products that I am using today. So what I tend to do is, obviously I wear fake tan, but obviously as you go along with the fake tan it gets lighter and then it has to come off and you have to reapply all over again. So I have a dark version and this is in the colour F9.5, but sometimes that could be a little bit too dark for me. So I will then mix it with the shade F1. Oh, put it in the wrong place. So it makes the perfect shade for me because, I mean, nobody wants pancake line, hun. Yeah, it's just not ideal. Of course, I'm using one of my palettes to use this to mix, because, I mean, I just don't like putting it on my hand. I feel like if you put it on the back of your hand, I don't know, I just find that I waste a lot of the product. So I prefer to kind of put it on like a palette or some sort. But everyone's got their own preferences, but this is just mine. I'd rather just use a palette and dirty a palette out instead of my hand, but you know, we all have our own preferences, hun. I mean, the good thing about these foundations is it's a glass bottle, which I don't know about anyone else, but I hate the glass bottles that you get, like the Estee Lauder one, and it's kind of like a pour bottle. I feel like you just waste so much product with that because it's glass and you can't get it out. So if you are really wanting to clean that bottle out, I mean, you're gonna have to smash that thing. But with these, you get kind of like, I don't really know what you call this, a sponge on the end of a stick. And I just find that's really handy. You can kind of sweep when you're getting low. I mean, I've had this one quite a while now and I'm still getting quite a lot of product off of it, which is good. So I'll then tend to mix this up just to kind of make my perfect shade. I don't want to be orange and I don't want to be like you know, too pale. What I will then do is use a beauty blender. Please ignore the state of my beauty blender. It is clean, it's just very stained. So I will literally just dab this on. Excuse me if I keep looking down here, it's just because I've got a mirror there. So what I will then do is just kind of lightly blend this in. The camera does keep losing its lighting, so I do apologise, but you get the drift. But we are just gonna blend and bring it down the neck, because who wants a pancake line? God, look at me right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward the boring part of the base, because I don't want to bore you, so I'm just going to fast forward this bit. My base is now done, and oh my god, I look like a bit of a clown, like a pale one, but we're just going to ignore that. Next, I'm going to be using this concealer, one of my favourites. I've currently just run out of my favourite one, which is the Maybelline eraser. Unfortunately, I'm all out. This girl's pretty empty. I'm now moving on to my other favourite, which is the Rimmel Lasting Radiance. I just feel like it's got a bit of a glisten to it, so it just kind of hydrates under your eyes and makes you just look a little bit more awake, because, you know, your girl has got dark bags going on here, and, you know, nobody wants to see that. Just pray for the best. I'm just going to change the lighting, because I feel like I'm not really feeling this lighting. I don't know about anyone else, but I really like a bright eye. I just feel like it really kind of like lifts and just makes the eyes look a little bit more popped. That is the concealer all applied under the eye. I'm just going to put a little bit more under there. I'm then going to go in with this and blend with the same beauty blender. I find if I just dab the concealer lightly, I feel like I get more of a flawless look than if I was to like keep dabbing a lot. I tend to just dab it only a little bit until it's kind of blended, and then I'll stop. I feel like the more you over blend, the more you kind of like lose the effect of the concealer. Oh, this lighting is really not doing me, hun. So yeah, don't mind me, I am just checking myself out a bit more with the mirror. Okay, so that is my concealer applied. Next it is baking time. I've been using this powder at the moment. I got it off Beauty Bay, and it's called Art Deco, I think it is. And basically I just saw a load of good reviews about it. I've just kind of poured it into my powder lid. I'm just going to dab that with my beauty blender, and I'm just going to bake my eyes, because, well, who wants a shiny under eye? I'm now all baked, but just to kind of get under the bits of my eye that are gonna crease, I'll just use a small brush. Now, I am not a professional makeup artist, so I forgot to add that in the beginning, but I mean, I don't know the names of these brushes. I just know I got this in a gift set. If that's any help, I just think it's perfect to kind of set the under eye. So while I'm waiting for that, I will then do a little bit of my contour. Now this I do have some left of. It's the Maybelline eraser again, but I've got this in a darker shade, but it's in 145 warm. I think it's ivory, but it's kind of rubbed off. But it says warm, it's number 145. So give this bit of a twist. And I'll just do that above my collarbone.
Oh my god.
Not my collarbone, the collarbones are here. My cheekbone. Oh my god, Amy, you're so stupid. I won't do the nose yet, obviously, because it is still baking, but I can also do the top of this forehead because, I mean, come on, what a 5 head is going on here. Get that contoured and ready to go. And then I'm just going to take my beauty blender again, but I'm going to use the opposite side because obviously I've been using the concealer and foundation for that side. So I'm just going to dab this. I did forget to mention as well that I do use a damp beauty blender. Some people have different preferences, but I just find that mine goes on a lot more smoother with a beauty blender that's wet. So I personally prefer to use a wet one, but you know, if you like yours dry, then that's your preference. Next, I will then go on to the brows. Now I have got a pomade, but I don't know about anyone else, but I seem to find that they go dry very, very quickly, and so I've never really like got along with them. But the way that I do find that I can use them a little bit better is by getting a face wipe. Excuse this one, it's a bit dirty. But if I give my eyebrow brush, oh, this is the eyebrow brush I will be using. Again, I do not know the name. I guess it's just an angled brush, but that is what I'll be using. I just tend to give it a bit of a wipe to make it a little bit wet, and it then kind of softens the product so you can get it on a little bit better. I tend to start off with the bottom of the brow first. I'm just going to get a little bit closer for you guys to see. So I'll start with the under part first, and then work my way down to the tail. What is going on with this lighting? I can't deal. Then I will just do the outline for the top. I must say, I always get nervous to do this brow. I don't know about anyone else, but I always have one brow that just does not want to play the game with me. And it just goes wrong every time. And I'm like, really? So I'll kind of just fill it in like halfway like that. Yeah, that will do. And then I tend to then go on to the other side while the brush is still a bit wet. Just realised as well, I am the girl that does her brows after her foundation. I know, but people do their brows obviously before anything. For some reason I've tried that and I just cannot get on with that sort of method. So I'd rather just do my brows after. It's kind of the way I've always done. That brow concentration face is real, Hans. Okay, so just gonna bring the line for that over a little bit more. Same for this side. And then what I'm gonna do is just check the height. Then what I'm gonna do after I've done that is obviously look at myself and be like, oh my god, you look silly. I'm gonna clean the product off of my brush, because now what I'm going to do is use the clean brush just to kind of sparse up the front, because I don't like having a lot of product on the front, and obviously you've still got a little bit left on there from previous, because you know the makeup wipe doesn't get rid of everything. What's that point saying then? So I'm then just going to go in with my concealer again. I didn't actually tell you what shade this is in, but it is in 010 Ivory. I like the whitest concealer you can get. That's just my preference. This lighting is doing my Sweden. So I'm just going to dab that under the brow for a nice clean finish. So I'm now just going to use this flat top brush. I'm so sorry, I am filming with my phone because your girl does not have a professional camera, because we're not at that stage yet. So I'm just gonna, don't even know what I'm saying, just gonna wipe the concealer on underneath. As you can probably tell, with however long we are into this video, that I am far from a professional, but I'm giving it my best, and you know, well, we all learn somewhere, don't we, Hans? I've just cleaned that brow up because she was a bit of a mess, and now I'm going to go onto the other side. Okay, so that is the brows done. Again, I'm not perfect at brows. I have just seen a little gap, which is really annoying. Does anyone ever do that? Like, they think, oh yeah, they're like sorted, and then they just play around with them, and then they just make them worse, and you just think, why didn't I just leave it in the first place? But, you know, it happens. What is this hair saying then? What is this hair saying? Anyway, I think she's been baking long enough, so where's me brush? Don't know what brush this is. It says Beauty Crush Foundation Build and Finish. I think it's meant to do your foundation, but I'm just gonna brush that powder away, and then just give that a little brush. Okay, so as you can see, it's, you know, it's not looking too bad. I mean, some of you might be watching and thinking, oh my god, what is she doing? She hasn't got a clue. Which, yeah, do you know what? I don't have a clue. Anyway, next for contour, I'm going to be using this bronzer. It's Hoola. It's one of my go-tos. It's my favourite. I found with other bronzers and contours that I've used, they're too orange, and they just look weird. So this one's just got kind of like a nice brownie colour. As you can tell, I do like it a lot. Just give it a little tap it, and then build onto there, because you don't want too much. It's buildable, like you just need to build it, because if you put too much on, then you can't reverse it. Whereas if you just start with little, you can just build up to how and where you want it, which is perfect. So as you can see, obviously my cheek now does look a little bit more defined, I'd like to hope. So again, we're just dipping, tapping the excess, and in circular motion. I haven't told you again what brush this is. Again, I have got this in a set, so I don't really know what brush this is. Sorry guys, that's my hamster. Okay, so more bronzer, tap, 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 and now onto the forehead. So I'll just kind of lightly, oh, there's a hair. Kind of lightly rub that along the forehead. And that just kind of makes, you know, your 5 head go from a 5 to a 3. So then you can kind of sort your hair out after. I tend to just bring it down to the temples, because otherwise you're kind of left with like a little white gap. Then I'm going to bring it down to my neck, because even though you've put your foundation there, you kind of just want to go under the jawline and just define that a little bit. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more presentable. But the one thing that I haven't done yet is contour my nose, which I am still learning the tricks for this, because I seem to, I don't seem to have grasped it. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna grab a face wipe. I like to just wipe the excess on my lips, because I hate having dry lips. I mean, do you remember back in the day when you actually like had foundation lips? Yeah. What was we thinking? So what I'm now going to do is contour the nose. So I'm just going to use, again, this brush. It's like a waddle, I don't know. I'm just going to tap it down. So what I've learned...
Oh my god.
What's going on here then? She's fucked up. She's fucked up. The closer you put the lines of the contour, the smaller it makes your nose, because obviously it won't look as wide. I mean, that's what I'm aiming for. Unfortunately, I was blessed with a nice old biggie honker. I've just got to contour the shit out of it. So I'm now just blending that in right up to the eyebrow and just making sure that it is all blended. As much as you want to contour your nose, you don't want people to know your nose is contoured. Okay, so I've blended that in as much as I can, but obviously you can still see the line. So it's easy to fix. I'm just gonna grab the concealer. I'm just gonna use this tool, which is my finger, and blend that in on the nose like so. So yeah, I'm gonna blend, but try not to lose too much of the shape of the contour, because otherwise, what's the point? This is just what I do. It's completely wrong, I understand, but it works for me, and everyone has different skins, different types, different techniques that work for them, so this is mine. Okay, so now we're going to go back in with the bronzer. I'm just going to clean the brush that we used earlier, and just to kind of set the contour you've done, I'm going to lightly tap that, and then just use the powder to go over what you've done. Okay, so I think that is up to kind of how I want it.
Just like, oh my god.
Next, I will be going in for a bit of blush. I love blush. I think it just completes the whole makeup look. I have got this, which I did use as my foundation palette not too long ago, and it's from Revolution, and it's a bronzer palette. I do know what this brush is. This in fact is one that I've bought myself, and it's a Real Techniques, and I have had it quite a while, which is why it's so grubby. I'm just going to use this colour here because I feel like it's just a little bit peachy. Thing is with these, which is why I've not actually used a lot of it, well, for what it seems, you literally have to dip the brush in once, and I mean it comes out so dark. But I mean, I'm only tapping, oh, and the lighting's gone again. I'm just tapping, and that's just plenty for me, because I have gone overboard with this before and I ended up looking like a clown. So again, with the technique that you use for the Hoola bronzer, little is more, little is more. Just blend it up, like with up the face, because you don't kind of want brown here and then just pink blotch there. So you've got to make sure you blend it in. I just find there's something so refreshing about having a bit of colour on the cheek. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit up here, just because, I mean, I don't really need it, and people are probably thinking, oh my god, what the fuck is she doing? But I just think when you've got a little bit of colour on the forehead, like a natural kind of, almost like a sunburnt forehead, but you know, we're in November now, so no sunburn anywhere near. Next, I will be using some highlights. Well, where do I even start with this palette? I think it's from Revolution, and it came like this. It's like a little chocolate bar thing, really cool. But I don't know about anyone else, but anyone who gets like palettes like these with these things, does anyone else's just like break? Like, I always seem to break them and end up having to have like the palette loose, which then shatters, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is broken. So I'm using this highlighter brush. I'm just gonna sweep it under here, because I'm all about the glow. You can never have too much highlight. We're nearly there, guys. So next is lips. I don't tend to really use a lip liner, but I am going to see what I've got because, you know, lip liners actually are handy. I found two. So I've got this one here. It's from Primark. But it's one of them that it's like a pencil, but like, how do you sharpen it? Because this is all like plastic. And it's always been something that's just really confused me. So I'm just going to apply my lip liner. This is in the shade, nearly forgot to say. Oh, it's called Naked Flame. Very, very nice. I'm just going to, I mean, we're all partial to a bit of an overdraw on the lip, like, not just me, but I've got the driest lips right now. I always tend to go a bit overboard to the point where it's wonky. This is kind of like my favourite go-to lipstick. It's, well, again, there's no labels because it's so up. Well, it's not old, but it's kind of like been used so much. But it's a Maybelline Super 24-Hour Super Stay in the shade 60 Poet. Or is that backwards? I don't know. And honestly, when it says 24-Hour Super Stay, I'm not even joking. It stays on for ages, and it doesn't dry the lips out. And it just feels really nice. It goes on really smooth, and I feel like your makeup look is not complete without the lipstick. You just don't want plain lips. Yeah, that is pretty much my everyday makeup, but this is my everyday makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up down below and give me a subscribe if you would like to see my videos from now on. And yeah, I will try and work on my lighting situation and also work on just the platform itself. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.